Hey there, and welcome to my channel. If you came from my last video, I want to clear up a few mistakes that I made. And if you're new, I'm going to be covering the new live stream that came out releasing some new information on Dead Space Remake. So if you're interested in learning about these new developments, please come on by. In that last video, I stated that I am playing on Xbox Series X, and that just simply isn't true. I'm playing on an Xbox Series S. I don't know why I said that, but I did, and I just wanted to clear that up. It doesn't make a huge difference, just know that I'm playing the game locally rather than having this. And the other thing I wanted to clarify is that I said that Motive Game Studios developed the original Dead Space game. That isn't true either. That was actually Redwood Shores under EA as well, but it is still a different game studio. However, they do have a lot of the same developers that worked on the original games. A lot of the names that made the game what it was are coming back for this project. And in terms of that news, during this live stream, Gunnar Wright, who was the original voice for Isaac Clarke in the second and the third game, he's going to be returning to play that same role in this game. Which is interesting in and of itself, because Isaac Clarke didn't have any voiced lines in the first game. He just kind of made grunts and screams, just kind of generic noises that didn't require a true voice actor. But if you've played through these games, you will recognize Isaac Clarke as Gunnar Wright. So it's really cool to hear him coming back. I think it would have been weird if they didn't have him come back. But it was interesting to hear how they were going to be handling that, because they weren't sure if they even wanted to have Isaac Clarke released in this game, because he wasn't in the first one. So a couple of rules that they set for themselves when writing Isaac Clarke's lines is that, one, he is only going to speak when spoken to, and two, he's only going to speak when it would be weird for him not to. Which is good, because that's still going to fit the voiceless protagonist that he was in that first game, but at least then it won't be awkward when somebody's like, hey, yeah, we're in a lot of trouble, there's a bunch of monsters around, and Isaac's just sitting there deadpan face, there's nothing going on. So that's good. I think that's a very smart direction to take this game, so I look forward to seeing that. And so moving forward, the devs were also saying that they were very focused on capturing that ambience of horror that the first 2 games did so well. They really wanted to make sure that everybody stayed on the edge of their seat from the beginning to the end, and that people who played those original games won't necessarily know what to expect out of this one. We're going to make minor changes so that surprises that you might have expected from playing the first game aren't going to come through in this game. So at least you will still have a surprise of some sort in this game. So that's good. I look forward to that. That makes me happy, because since I am playing this game right now, working on a longer form video about Dead Space, I really look forward to hearing that this isn't just going to be more of the same, that they are redrawing it, remaking it, making a brand new game. It might as well be a reboot from what it sounds like, than calling it Remake. It kind of sounds like they're just starting the series off fresh. And in that vein, they also mentioned, went into a little more detail with how they were going to be referencing the greater lore of the story. Really, they wanted this game to recognize the context of what was revealed in Dead Space 2, and Dead Space 3, and in the last one, in the books and the anime. They really wanted to make sure that that world that had been developed over all of those games is still present in this game. Because in that first game, if you already know all of those world-building lore events going on outside of the game, you don't see any of that in that first game. The first game is very focused. It has its series of events, but it doesn't. You don't really see like logs from the government entities in the games that are doing a lot of things behind the scenes. You don't really see that, whereas it gets developed more in the second and third game. Now there's going to be logs that will reference that stuff. So I think that's good. I really enjoyed the lore and the story of these games, so that's fine. Like I said in my last video, I look forward to it. I don't think they're going to screw that up. And with that, the devs were really saying that they wanted this live stream and their actions moving forward to show that they want to be completely transparent with this whole process so that we will know what to expect without spoiling the surprises, of course. They want to make sure that we aren't going to get promised a cyberpunk game and then get a cyberpunk game, you know? They really want to make sure that they don't do that they don't go down that route, and they've doubled down saying once again that there are going to be absolutely no microtransactions, which is fine. I already talked about it in the last video. I don't really care, as long as the top league win, doesn't matter. So I suppose that's good news. They also mentioned that they wanted the game to be a completely unbroken experience. They were saying that they wanted, if a player felt so inclined to take 12 hours, no bathroom breaks, and just play from beginning to the end of the game, to go from the bottom of the Ishimura to the top, that you absolutely could. They wanted to fully realize this space station and make sure that everything was fleshed out. There were more hallways than there were in the original game. They wanted it to actually feel like that space station. So that's really cool. I look forward to exploring and seeing what else they put in, because it's already a very detailed and atmospheric place to be in, and they clearly recognize that. So to see how they're going to flesh that out is very interesting. Now from here I want to talk about what they showed graphically in the games. To start out, they showed a couple of still frames. They showed one from the original game in engine, and then they showed one from the new game in engine. And in regards to their transparency, I don't know if maybe there was an update or a patch that made my version of Dead Space look better than it did originally. It looks exactly how I remember it. But the screenshot that they're showing looks significantly lower quality than what I'm currently playing with. It kind of feels like they turned off some settings to make it look worse. It doesn't seem very transparent to me. I think it's kind of odd that in that basically that same breath they turn around and give us this screenshot that to me does not look accurate. I'm going to throw a couple of screenshots up to kind of compare what the differences are in my experience, and then maybe we can just take from that what we will. Then they actually show real-time in-engine footage of moving around as Isaac Clarke in the classic Headbanger hallway. It looks great. I love the details. They did mention that the armor that you see on Isaac is not his final armor. It's just a work in progress, just to represent what he's going to look like. It looks great. I love it. The lighting looks great. The shadows look great. The details to the textures look great. I have no complaints. I don't know why they felt the need to alter that screenshot from what I can tell. What they have is a very strong product. It's exactly what you would expect from a AAA title that's coming out these days. It looks great. I don't think there's any reason to be even slightly deceitful. So from there, they take us into what they call the gym, where it's kind of like a test environment to throw a couple of the entities in. In this case, you have Isaac Clarke as a player character and a necromorph in front of him. And then they just demonstrated some of the shooting and moving around, and in particular, they have a new system for how the textures interact with being shot, and they're calling it peeling. And what this is going to do is kind of peel off layers as you're shooting them. So, for instance, in the original games, you were encouraged to shoot off the limbs. And in order to do that, you wouldn't want to just make body shots or head shots. What you're going to want to do is shoot for the elbows or the shoulders or the knees or the hips. You're going to want to shoot for joints. And what that'll do is that'll break off the end of that appendage that you shot. And then in the original games, you would be able to use that appendage as a weapon if you wanted. But in this game, they're going to have this peeling so detailed so that, like, as you can see on the screen, as you're shooting them, it's going to like peel off some of the skin, and you might see some bone, or you might see some organ. And they said that they even wanted to take it so far as if you don't totally shoot the limb off, it'll just kind of be dangling there by a strand of flesh. It sounds really cool. I'd love to see this level of detail realized in the game. The closest that I've seen was in The Last of Us Part 2, where they had some very strong gore mechanics with how the tearing and stuff went. They didn't use it throughout for all of the entities in the game, and I'm not surprised. That sounds very graphically and developmentally heavy. Because as you can see in some of the shots they showed of the process of going about this, you have to have so many layers that are interacting and knowing how they interact with being shot, where they're being shot from. I'm really surprised that we're going to see resources put into this. I really hope that it's implemented well and doesn't wind up being just a waste of resources that could have been spent elsewhere, because this is groundbreaking development, but that often costs us time that could be spent making the rest of the experience whole. So we'll see what happens. That is one thing that makes me a little bit cautious. The one final thing, they were mentioning how the guns worked in the original games. As you've seen with the plasma cutter, it was the classic weapon. It's your first weapon. It's what you got for most of the game. And it feels so visceral that you're just tearing enemies apart with an actual plasma cutter. And with this game, they wanted to realize that, but for all of the guns, because some of the guns just didn't have that feeling. They just felt like a normal FPS game like Doom or something, which is fine and is fun, but that is not the atmosphere of this game, so I was tending to avoid them. That primarily being the pulse rifle or the plasma rifle, or whatever it was called, an automatic repeater. I just didn't really like it very much because it didn't have that feeling like the line gun did, where I could just rip off all of the enemy's legs. It was great, and so I really look forward to see how they capture that feeling for all of the guns, because they weren't very specific. They didn't really show how that was implemented. Maybe they did and just expected it to come through. I didn't get that out of what I saw, but that's okay, because what I did see looked phenomenal. And then finally, they talked about how they were going to be handling the story. They said that they didn't want to change anything about the foundation of the story. That in its core, the story of Dead Space is about Isaac Clarke having to come to fix up a ship that his girlfriend happens to be on. And then throughout the course of that story, he's trying to find his girlfriend and find out what's wrong on the space station. That's the story, and they're going to be sticking to that. But they want to add on to it. And that's where those references to the other world building events. They said that they really wanted to focus more on the search for Nicole, because a lot of the first game it kind of felt like sidetracking around to get to Nicole, whereas now it might be a little bit more explained that, oh, you can't get to her yet because you still have to do this first. Maybe some more entry logs where you can listen to what she was doing before the events and leading up to and through. So yeah, all around, this has been a great live stream. It was only like 45 minutes, so if you're able to go over to Twitch and watch it, Motive Game Studios has a Twitch channel, and certainly I highly recommend you go check it out if you're curious about this title. I just wanted to show you what the key points were out of this video and kind of talk about it a little bit. So please, let me know in the comments what you guys think, what you're looking forward to, and what's making you nervous about this remake. But at the end of the day, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And please feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this a lot more. It looks like the next video is going to be about the Saints Row reboot that's happening, and kind of talking about what we're going to expect with that. So I hope to see you there, and again, have a wonderful day.